Hey, can you guys see it now? Or like it should be live.
Um,
I'll see if it works for me. Maybe
I think it still says that it just says it was streamed a minute ago.
yeah, it works.
It's up for me.
Hey,
Oh.
yeah, we're good now. Sorry about that. But
It's okay.
uh, um but yeah, like, and then I'd say like another big thing about outreach is not just like who your audience is, but it's like what you're trying to accomplish in it. Like I'd say a really big thing that we started, especially last year, Risha started a club called Gateway to Science. So similar to how you guys like try and reach out to other elementary schools and do science projects, you have something similar to that. You want to elaborate on that, Risha? Or?
Yeah, so something that I started last year was Gateway to Science, and basically we have around 50 to 60 members now, and they work in separate groups to make like a science presentation on one engaging topic. So like in the beginning of the year, they filter through like a bunch of ideas that kids would be able to understand. So maybe something about like the solar system, gravity, or really anything regarding science. So then as they expand that, we then go to these elementary schools where there's kids like ages like 10 to 12, and we give these presentations to them and they learn, and they just, that's how their creativity sparks in science. So it's like aside from like the note taking, the tests, it's something different in that sense.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also this year our goal is kind of to also give kids who usually wouldn't have a chance to like come in contact with STEM a chance to do that. So we have these lessons that we've prepared to give at elementary schools, so we can teach them like how to program in Lego Mindstorms or other basic science things, so they can also learn about that even though they usually wouldn't have had the chance.
That's really cool.
I had a question for you guys. So I think you guys were mentioning how you guys do projects with like FTC teams or like rookie FTC teams. Could you like tell me more about like what are those projects and like how you guys do that?
Well, we have like a couple of teams we already did projects with. Like one a team we're very close with here in the Netherlands is Stanisla's Tech team. And we're gonna give those programming, like the tech lessons Mia just mentioned, with them at the school because they live close to us and everything. And then we also met a couple of teams last season at the Worlds Festival. And one of them, two of them, one is FTC team Technobots from Nigeria. We're setting up a project with them right now, and I think we're gonna make like videos to help Ruby teams, and we also are starting up a project with Team Wolfpack Machina from somewhere in the United States. I think it was Vermont. I'm not great with the states; it's way too many for me. And we're gonna set up a cat challenge with them.
That's cool. What's like the biggest thing you guys like do to like connect with all these teams? Like, is it just like through like social media, or like?
I mean, yeah, it's social media, like for the most part. We just post a lot. We DM teams a lot, and then like competitions, like the World's Festival, really helped in that we met a lot of teams also outside of Europe too. Like we met these teams, as Ava said, from the States, but also Nigeria, from all over the world. When normally, like via something like Instagram, you can chat with them, but it's much more difficult than meeting with them in real life to set up a project.
Yeah, and like I was gonna ask another thing. Like are projects just like lessons, or is there like times where you'd like host a scrimmage with a team so that they can learn something about your robot or like see what you guys do differently that might help them?
Yeah, right now we did work on a scrimmage that we're still working on, that where teams can participate in, and we made a challenge, a cat challenge, not a cat challenge, a challenge for them, a different game than the normal game, so that in the off season, people, the teams that maybe aren't able to go to the World's Festival, still have something to look forward to or something to do.
Unfortunately, here in the Netherlands, all teams are like very like spread out over the country, so it's difficult to host a scrimmage where lots of teams can participate because they're all like a few hour drives away, except for a few that are in our location. But then most of them are like all the way down in the Netherlands.
Yeah, and a bunch are like even in Germany.
Yeah,
So yay.
and Belgium.
Yeah.
And Norway.
Oh, so it's definitely like widespread everywhere.
Yeah, there are a lot of teams from like other countries in Europe that don't have like an FTC competition in their own country, so they come to the Netherlands. Like there are a bunch of teams from Germany, but this year there's also a Lithuanian and a Norwegian team. So, and it's now FTC Benelux, so there are Belgian teams as well.
What would you say is your favorite outreach event? Like, what was the biggest, and also what was your most like favorite event that you guys were able to do
Ever?
ever?
I mean, I think my favorite project is still the science camps. Like, we try to do it every year, but we try to make it better every year. Like, we try to do different activities, try to reach more kids in different areas. There was a year where we, I think, made it free for certain kids if they weren't able to pay for it, so that if you don't have access to these kinds of things normally, we were able to give them these lessons and also make them excited for STEM. So I think that's my favorite. I don't know about you.
I think my favorite project ever, like 3 years ago, we went to Bright Day, which is like this big sort of science and technology like event where there are all these people from like companies, and we were there as our FTC team to like show people our robot and what we do, and teach them more about FIRST, and that was super cool because it was like a huge event, and we were actually able to go there, and it was still before COVID, so no restrictions. Yeah.
I think my favorite project is we did a video project with Team Nowbots from Mexico, and it was like the first project that I personally like had a big role in, and I was like in charge of organizing it, and I thought it's so much fun to be able to communicate with a team that's so far away, and I really enjoyed working on that project.
So like you guys like connect with like a lot of like teams like far away and like outside. Like what would you say is like the biggest like struggle to having to like do all of that like through like your phone and like everything, like not being able to actually like meet in person?
I mean, yeah, it's all remote. Like with teams in our area, we're able to meet up, we can make a plan, and then like a week later, we can meet again to pursue the project. But online, it's a lot of talking, and you have to explain yourself a lot because, like, if that, like, in a text, it's really hard to explain like a whole project. It's different than when you talk with someone. And it's also, if you want to do a project together, let's say you want to do these kinds of lessons for kids, it also has to be remote. Like it has to be in your area or their area, and you can't like do it together. Whereas if you have a team in your area, you can just meet up and teach them in person together. But that's difficult remote.
Yeah, and also I think like time difference is a bigger thing. That sometimes we don't really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But then a team says, "Oh, let's meet up at 4 p.m. for them," but that's the middle of the night for us. So
yeah,
it's really hard to like communicate with that.
Yeah, and it'd be like for us, and regular time after school or like in the evening is like when they're at school. So it usually also has to be in the weekend, which is sometimes not super handy for everyone else. So it's hard to find a day to like meet.
Yeah, and then like I was gonna ask like another question based off that. Like obviously you have your in-person outreach events and then you have your virtual events. would you say like you're able to communicate like the same message or as much as you wanted in those virtual events, like compared to the in-person events?
I mean, I still think that in-person events have a bigger impact because, like, if we make YouTube videos, maybe not a lot of people will see it. Like, you have to specifically search for it or follow us on our Instagram, etc. But if we just go to a school or present at or just go to another team and present at their school, something like that. You have all these people that don't know anything about this topic yet that you can inspire. And with like social media, it's mostly targeted towards people that are already in the community. So it's quite difficult to reach people outside of that.
Yeah, but I do think that we improved on our virtual outreach a lot since the beginning of COVID because we had like 2 forced years of virtual outreach, and now we kind of like got the hang of it, and it's getting a bit better every time.
Yeah, I feel like that might have been the one good thing about being forced to be at home during COVID, that we had to do all our outreach online. On the other hand, we couldn't work on our robot like at all, but whatever. Yeah.
How'd you guys like? Because we do one virtual outreach event like in the summer where like we call it Z.I.P Camp, where we're like teaching like 9-12-year-old kids like virtually on like first like FLL and all that stuff and like programming and like the project. But like like our first year doing it, I felt like we found it like hard to like make sure the kids were like engaging, like doing like cool like exercises, like asking them questions and all that. Like, how do you guys find it the best way to keep your people, like the kids in your like virtual events, like as entertained and engaged as like possible?
I don't think we ever did like a virtual event with kids.
No, not
We
live.
wanted to organize one, but then we were also struggling. We thought the kids wouldn't, like, if we had many kids in a call, they wouldn't want to participate. So we just thought of alternatives and did other projects that year. I do think like asking questions and giving them maybe an assignment to do, like a fun assignment, obviously not like schoolwork. I think that would help them to be more engaged in a call.
Yeah, when we were trying to set up the project, we also thought of like sending these kids packages with the materials they would need to do a certain assignment so that they can make it at home and not just look at a screen where we just talk the whole time.
Yeah, like I would say, like I think our biggest struggle, especially this year with SIP camp, was that like the kids, like if we were to tell them to do something, they were having like a hard time trying to like navigate the software we were using. So we were able to complete the camp, but there's obviously like a lot of hurdles that we had to overcome in order to do it successfully. And then in outreach, we obviously have like first outreach, and then like community based outreach. But then there's also like connecting with mentors and like professionals. So when you guys do you guys focus on outreach in which you connect with like professionals in your community?
We do have like a couple of sponsors. We recently went to visit one. It's like it's called a company, and they make egg sorting machines. And I never knew those existed, but we went there and we saw like where they manufacture everything, and it was really cool. And they give us materials too, and they also have like very good insights and very good ideas, because obviously they have a lot of like very talented engineers working there. They help us a lot.
We also, this year, we have a few team members who graduated last year who come to our lab to help us, like, basically mentor us and help us think of more ideas. And last year, we also had a brainstorm session at the beginning of the season together with Team Rembrandt. It's an FRC team, and they mentored us right after the kickoff to help us, like, think through the game and come up with strategic ideas for what to do.
Yeah, like I'd say, especially professionally wise, like recently we met someone at one of our outreach events, and he actually designs audio players for like attractions. So he like showed us the whole software with that and how like what we're learning can be applied to that and how it applies to other places in the real world. So I would say, especially with professional outreach, it's not just you're that you're giving back to them, but you're also able to learn something from them as well. um, would you say like there is a certain type of outreach like teams to target, or should they just target um, like should they go mainly for community based and like first outreach events?
I think professional like outreach is very important, but many teams don't really think of it. They when they outreach, they think of first outreach and community outreach. They don't really think to reach out to professionals or sponsors. And I think for like rookie teams, or if you're very new, that's not really a problem because you don't really need them. But once you like advance and become like more sucked into the world of first, it's more important to try to reach out to professionals too and to get as many help as you can.
Yeah, I also think that when you're starting out, I think it's much easier to reach out to other teams, like just DM them or whatever, because like other older teams are always ready to help you out. Like if we get a DM from a rookie team, we are ready to help them out. If they have a problem, they can just DM us or whatever, and we will help them. Also, we have a rookie team in our school, and whenever they have a problem, they can come to us, and we can try and solve the problem together with them. So I think it's much easier to reach out to other teams than to start off reaching out to professionals, because there's like a bigger, I guess, barrier to overcome. It's difficult if you don't already know a lot of people in the industry.
Yeah, like I'd say like obviously if you don't really know many people, then it's really hard to get to a lot of major outreach events. Like I'd say because of some of the bigger events that we went to, like there's something called Maker Faire in Orlando. That has like about 5,000 attendees. We were able to connect with like a lot of major companies and individuals who were interested in like mentoring us or who wanted to start like a robotics team. So I'd say like obviously if you don't have those professional connections, it's like really hard to find and expand your horizons.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a big thing for like at least like our team this year. Like we've been going to a lot more of those like events where like a lot more like people are coming, like not just like kids, but like older like adults and like professionals. So we're able to connect with more like professional people. But like I think that's like one advice like I think I would give to like rookie teams is that like try to like go and like get invited to those events and like ask to like be able to go to them. Do you guys have any other like advice for rookie teams? Like how should they get their like outreach like up and like increase how much outreach they do?
I mean, I think a sort of easier way to set up outreach is just think of stuff you can do in your community, or like ask another team to do a project together. But especially stuff that you can just do in your community. If you can think of an easy idea, that's usually also quite easy to implement without having to have any professional connections or anything like that.
And you think like it's good to start off with a simple project if you're new to outreach. So like something that doesn't require much energy and it's helpful to your community. You don't immediately have to organize like a major event that will get hundreds of people excited about first. You can just like we did. You can like clean up a city. It's also outreach. It's not very big, and it's just you can kind of like get a feeling for it, for what outreach is supposed to be.
And then I had another question, especially since you were talking about professionals. Do you guys find it important to especially connect with like your government, especially like let's just say like local politicians about STEM education and about implementing robotics in like the community, do you guys find it important to talk to them and try and spread the message of first, especially to that group?
Um, like politician wise, I don't think we've really tried to connect with any politicians because, like, we're afraid that if we connect to a certain politician, that if like politics get involved, people's views are different, and we're trying to reach everyone and not only certain people. So if we would meet up with a certain politician that people don't agree with, it makes it more difficult to reach everyone instead of just a specific group. So we have not really tried. How about you guys?
We've been emailing like a lot of politicians just so that we have that the ability to like communicate and advocate for first. Like so instead of like just talking to one politician, like you said, like that's definitely important that people might disagree with them or agree with them. So we just really reached out to as many people as we can and just seeing what has clicked, if anyone is available, if anyone's not available, and just basing it off of that. I think like at least when it goes professional outreach wise, like there's only so much you can do without like reaching out to like local government people or like decision makers in the community. So like it doesn't have to be like some major politician, even like some community like in so like or your city leader or something like that, or like your school board member or like people like that also make important decisions. So even reaching out to them is something important.
I do like. I want to just elaborate on what Zoe said earlier. I think like politics in the Netherlands is way more complicated than it is in America. We have like 20, I think 20 to 30 political parties, whereas you guys only have two. So it's really complicated for us.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, it's we don't really want to get involved in that. But what you said about just reaching out to people in power, like not necessarily politicians, that's a great idea. We never really tried to do that, but I think we could in the future.
Yeah, I mean, we've done simple things like ask the director of our school to put an advertisement in the newsletter for like our science camp in the vacation, or just write a bit in the newsletter about one of our competitions. But that's pretty much it, I think.
Oh yeah, and we also have like a bit in the school paper and everything, but it's
Oh yeah,
always been like small things like that and not really big projects.
No,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't.
think
I'm
that's
sorry.
what. Sorry, no, that's what makes it hard for us is because we're not really a school team. We're a private team with a bunch of kids from like different schools. So it makes it a lot harder for us, at least, to get that outreach in schools, like a newsletter or like a principal. So like the majority of our teammates actually come from one high school, but like Mohill over there, he goes to a different school, as well as we have some like three middle schoolers on our team. So it's like it's a lot harder for us to get that sort of outreach. But we've been trying to recently.
Yeah, like as
well,
Risha. Oh, sorry.
You
no, go
good?
ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, so like as Risha was saying, like we actually know someone who is able to connect to the school board that some of our member or part of Seminole County, which is the county that we're located in, and some of our teammates go to their public schools. So what we're trying to do there is actually present and share first with them. So even if like we're spreading the word of first to them, even if it's just like a really small thing.
Yeah, we're technically a school team, but our members come from 3 different schools. One of them is like a 5-minute bike ride from our home school, and one of them is like an hour away driving, and which is kind of also handy because last year when we went to the World Championship, we were able to get funding also from one of the other schools that we have team members.
Oh, that's really cool. When you guys like think of like about like funding and stuff, how do you guys go about that?
Well, we try to reach out to sponsors. We try to get as many as we can. So we have our sponsors from over the years that if we talk to them about these kinds of events, like, hey, we're going to the World's Festival, we would really love you to maybe support us, and we can do this and that, like to compensate it. But we also, if we are preparing for something big like that, we try to reach out to like the contacts we have via parents. Maybe if someone knows somebody at a certain company that would be able to help us out, we try to like make contact with them. And we also, I think we started a GoFundMe as well, so that really helped too. Aside from the school funding, which is really, really like handy.
How did the
Yeah.
GoFundMe work? Did you guys like just make it and then spread it as much as you can, or like how was that able to be successful?
Yeah, basically. So we made the GoFundMe, and then we posted it on all of our social medias, and then um, we agreed to share it like on our private platforms as well, via our parents, or maybe they shared it like on Facebook, and their friends would share it, or family members. So we tried to reach as many people as we could.
We
Yeah,
also sorry. No. We also tried to like get published in like local newspapers or like have a radio interview so we could reach out to more people in our community.
yeah, I think just like by making our parents just share it with everyone they knew. Like I had a lot of family members that just gave us like €5 or something. But if you have many people who do that, then you get way more money.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You guys, you said something about like a radio. Like you guys went on the radio to like talk about first in your team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's this one of our team members who's not here, unfortunately. She was on a local radio show for like a few minutes. It was not like an entire hour or something. And she just spread the word about FTC, and she explained what we do. And it was because we won an award in the Netherlands here. It's called Science Makers. It was like for the people, for the kids and teenagers who work, like made big accomplishments in the field of technology and science.
Mm-hmm.
We won the award with along with 2 other teams, I think. And then we got invited to that radio show to really explain why we won it and what we do in FTC.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I heard you guys say like all your social medias. Do you guys use like different social medias besides like just Instagram for your team?
We have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, although we don't really post a lot on that. And other than that, we have LinkedIn too, for more professional things, and then we post on Slack as well. I don't know. Do you guys know any other ones? I didn't say.
No.
We have a couple of like individual members who are on the Discord, but
Right.
it's not like a team thing.
Yeah,
No, and
what is-
honestly, our Facebook is mostly managed by our coach because like
And
none
it's
of us actually ever uses Facebook.
No, like a lot of us don't even know how Facebook works, but it's just
Exactly.
like when I post a story on our Instagram, it just says like post on Facebook too. I'm like, okay, sure, go ahead, and that's how we post as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's basically the same here. At least I don't know how to use Facebook. I never even touched it, but I think LinkedIn's cool. I don't know if we have that. So
Yeah,
does that work for you?
I don't think we have like a LinkedIn, but like we definitely like saw like the most like foot traffic on our Instagram. But like yeah, like Risha was saying, how did LinkedIn work out for you guys?
yeah, and like I would say like you guys were saying about how some of your members are on the Discord. I don't know if like you guys or if the Netherlands does this, but at least in Florida, there's an FTC Discord with almost every single team, and in this like we're able to talk to each other about robotics, CAD, programming, outreach events, and just like talk in general. So that way we're able to also like gain a larger following and also spread the word of like what we do in that as well.
Yeah,
like-
and Discord
sorry.
is just mostly some individual members use it. Like I use it sometimes if I have like programming questions and I can look if other people have similar problems in like the programming channel, but like for the rest we don't use it that much.
I think we use it the same way. I think like some of our team members, like I know our programmer, and then some of our like engineers, like engineering people, like they go to Discord or like they use Instagram to like ask other teams, oh, do you guys like have this problem and like this and that. It's like we don't have a LinkedIn personally, but like how did you guys like find that like LinkedIn like really worked for your team in like connecting with people, or like
I think LinkedIn really helps for like professional connections because I mean FTC, let's be real, FTC teams aren't on LinkedIn or anything. It's mostly professionals who like follow our work, or alumni, maybe old teachers. It's things like that. I don't think we really. I don't manage a LinkedIn. It's our coach, just like the Facebook. Because I don't know how it works. We just use it like let them know what we do, and then if we really need something, we can reach out to people on it. But I don't think we have done that in a very long time. So
Yeah, but I do think like with the GoFundMe, it helped a lot because we posted it on there as well, and then parents who are on LinkedIn were able to share directly via that post. So we were able to reach a lot of parents on LinkedIn. So like when we need it, when we need to reach people on LinkedIn, like we're able to do it, and we do it too, but we're not active all the time.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you guys like, oh sorry, you can go.
No, keep going. It's fine.
I was just gonna say like that's really cool. So you guys like are able to connect with like everybody from like various platforms and everything.
Yeah, and about like Discord, because you said you could like use Discord to talk with other teams and stuff like that. In the Netherlands, we use for FCC Netherlands uses Slack for like most of the communication. I don't know if you guys have that too, but like there are a lot of channels there too for like questions and where you can ask refs questions, and there are a lot of people who try to also ask others if they have like extra parts or something that they're looking for there. And FTC Netherlands does announcements on there as well.
Yeah, and like I'd say, let's like sort of move away from it, but also like I'd say another big thing, especially in FTC, is your engineering portfolio. So I know each year when it comes to this, our team has a very big discussion about how we should format our outreach and like how many pages we should assign to it, because obviously there's other aspects that we want to include in it. But to us, like I think this year we're including 5 to 6 pages. But what do you guys? How do you guys manage your your engineering portfolio, especially with outreach?
I think we just have like little headings with the names of all projects we did, and then we like make someone write a few sentences about it. It depends on how big the project is. If it's like a project like this, or we got invited by this team, it was very fun. It was fun. But then a project like the everything we do with the kids get like a lot more elaboration. And we haven't had the engineering portfolio discussion yet, but when we do, I think we're probably going to dedicate a lot of it to outreach because we think it's like really important. And a robot can be explained like using pictures and everything, but for outreach you do need like a lot of text to really explain what you did and how many people you reached and things like that.
Yeah, last year for the robot pages, it was like pictures with text bubbles that explained what each part is, which kind of saves room in terms of needing to describe everything in words, because that takes up quite a bit of space, which is something you do have to do with outreach, but with like engineering is not absolutely necessary.
Yeah, so you guys just like have every single outreach you do, or do you like filter which ones you want to show and then you don't show some?
I mean, we try to show as much as we can. Like we put our time into these projects, so we want to show them. We're also proud of them as well, but at some point you have to like save space. So we just make a list of all the projects we've done, and then instead of not mentioning a project at all, we will just like explain it in maybe 1 or 2 sentences, and then another project, as Ava said, like with children or something that we worked on for a really long time, will get more pages. And then so we try to mention everything, but like in different proportions, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So do you guys like organize like this outreach, and this type of outreach, or is everything just like for the 5 pages or whatever you guys put? Is everything just together?
We do organize it. We just like they're on different pages, and they like we have more community outreach than we do professional outreach. So we just like we usually have the professional at the very end, and also in the presentation, which is also like a big thing for us. We always work very hard on the presentation we have to give. We also have like separate people who talk about all of the 3 kinds of outreach we usually have. So we do try to separate it.
Yeah, in the presentation, we do have to choose like what stuff we talk about and what we don't, because we tend to have presentations that are way too long. So we always need to make them shorter. And yeah, we have to choose what we put in and what we don't.
Yeah, and like as you're saying, like how you guys like are managing it, I think something that we did include last year was like our future outreach events. So, do you guys also include that, like any future events that you know you have already set up and have planned? Like, do you include that in your portfolio so you can show judges how you're like continuously spreading the word of first and like into your community?
I think for projects we have already set up and that are like launching after the event, we do try to mention them because we do really want to show that we work on outreach all the time and not just during the season. So yeah, we do try to mention that whenever possible.
But you guys like in your presentation, you guys like separate and like talk about how like your 3 outreaches. Like, what are your 3 outreaches? Like community, professionals,
and FTC.
And FTC.
Yeah, first.
And like in your portfolio, is it like, do you guys just like kind of like list out all your outreaches like in one go, or do you guys like have like, is it more like, oh, you put like a bubble and then like pictures, or like?
Yeah,
we do try to make it like as nice looking as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're really big on like aesthetics, because if something looks fun, people will read it like quicker. Like it's different if there's just a lot of text, like it's only text on a page, it just looks boring. But if you add pictures of the project, people are intrigued by it, and then they will read it and you reach more people.
That's true. Yeah, I think like what we tried like last year, we tried to like have that like same concept, like make it like look as like nice and professional, but like also make it look like fun and should like incorporate like our team colors. But I think what we found like this year is like we might have done like that a little too much. So we put like a little too many boxes and a little too like much and like less like words. So like this year we're trying to put like make sure we're like describing everything, but also making it look as like nice as possible.
Yeah, last year our engineering portfolio, I think it was like barely any pages where it was like just text with a picture. It was all like laid out really nicely. We had a team member who really liked like editing last year, so she could do that, and we had a lot of pink pages because, well, pink to the future. So yeah.
And we also like what I really liked about last year's engineering portfolio. We had like pictures of team members at the bottom of each page, and they were explaining our thought process. So we had like a text over a thought bubble, and just said we chose to do this because this and that. And I think that really like it was really funny, and it really added to our engineering portfolio to show the judges what we were thinking and why we did something a certain way.
Yeah, and like I would say another thing, especially like last year, since we were like focusing more on like how our thing looks aesthetically wise, we weren't able to include as many words. So I think we decided to make an actual like portfolio dedicated to just outreach. So it showed like each outreach event that we did with statistics and like more words and like more information about it. So do you guys plan on doing something similar to that, because you might not be able to include all the information you wanted to include in your portfolio?
Isn't that basically like the engineering notebook though?
Yeah, but I think last year we didn't really think like as much as the engineering notebook, because we thought like, you know, they're making it optional, so there's not really a need for it. But did you guys really make an engineering notebook and include that as well?
Well, last year we ended up needing to make an engineering notebook after the national championship, because for Worlds it was like mandatory basically to win an award. So we had to make an engineering notebook super like last minute. But this year it's not necessary at all, I think. So we're not going to do that this year.
That makes sense. Do you guys like? How do you guys? What would you guys say would be like the best advice to give like a rookie team on like starting their engineering portfolio? Because like when we first started doing it, I feel like it was like definitely really hard to like separate how many pages we want to give like one thing versus like another thing, and like making sure we were able to include all the information we wanted and all of that.
Yeah, I think like discussing how many pages and how many like words you want to give every topic is really important. But also thinking about how to make the portfolio as engaging as possible. Because if I was a judge, I wouldn't want to read like 18 pages of just text. No, it's boring. So adding pictures and making it like aesthetic pleasing and everything, I think that's also very important. Apart from the fact that you just really have to talk about what you do want to include in the portfolio and what you don't.
Yeah, I would also say, well, this is probably the most basic answer, but just like start on time. We're not a very good example of that, but it might be helpful if you're a rookie team to start like way ahead of your national or state championship with planning your portfolio and actually writing it.
Yeah, and also like if you have this format, like we have a format that we've been using for years and years. If you just make that, and for every, it doesn't matter if it's outreach or programming, anything, if you just follow that format, it's much easier to make like a coherent story at the end.
I just like for rookie teams again, like what would you say is the most effective way to network in the community or like with other teams and professionals in the community?
I would say definitely for other teams, just like reach out to them on via Instagram. I think is probably what most teams use. But like when we get DM'd by a team, like, "Hey, do you want to meet up with us on like for a Zoom meeting or something?" We're always happy to help them or do a project with them. And so for rookie teams, it's just helpful to realize that like everyone wants to help you. So if you just ask the question, you'll usually get a positive answer.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Just don't be afraid to ask more experienced teams for help because they're always happy to help. Usually when we receive like a DM from a team that needs our help, we just immediately have someone reply to it. If it's like a programming question, like I saw like we got a question about programming and I immediately texted Mia like, what is this problem? I don't get programming. Please explain it to me so I can help them. And then, yeah, we just really like don't be afraid to ask questions and just ask other teams for their context and how they set up their project because it's everyone wants to help you. That's what FIRST stands for. So.
Yeah, and like before we end off today, I think we have 5 more minutes. But is there any other questions you want to ask us in general about what we've done so far this season, or any more outreach questions you have for us?
Well, this is kind of random, but have you guys already had any competitions this season?
So yeah, so far we've had 3 league meets. We've been first in our league for all 3 league meets, and we have our next one next week on Saturday, and then we have league champs on January 28th.
Oh, nice. Our next league meet is on January 28th, and league championship is February 11th. So, yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for your time today. It was really nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah, thank
before we
you.
leave, could I just get like a screenshot so I can like post it that we met?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I'll let you know. All right, 3, 2. All right, let's see if it came in. Oh no, Leah's eyes were closed in the screenshot. So we'll
Oh
take
no.
All right, I'll take your video. All right. All right, 3, 2. All right, yeah, that came out good. All right, thank you guys so
All
much.
right, guys.
I
Thank
had
you
a
so
good time.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Say-
Good luck
too.
for your